Hello, and welcome to the homecoming of a lifetime. My name is Ebube, and you are listening to Popcorn for Dinner. Now that we are officially on Dragon Time, there's a lot we need to keep track of, and it's easier than ever because it looks like Rhaenyra is focused. For the first time in a very long time, Rhaenyra has gotten out of her house and done something. Not for lack of trying, to her credit, but a few people kind of had to suffer for this to happen, and a bunch of heads have rolled as a result. We are here to break it down, but first, I should probably point out that war has begun, and you need to choose a side. You need to decide if you're Team Black or Team Green. Now, there used to be unity in the community around me, but that is no longer the case. And somehow, I keep finding myself in conversation with those who have decided to be my enemies. So please join me in welcoming Soonen and Afam.
Okay, all right. Let's relax a little bit.
That's what supporters of the USURPER deserve. Okay?
Yeah, you're right. The usurper just took the throne. So
Ah,
Wow, that's crazy.
You mean the one true heir?
yes.
The one true heir.
Oh my God. Yeah, this episode was interesting because it's sort of doing the opposite of disappointing me as far as delivering. It's keeping the momentum of episode 1. I mean, regardless of how people felt about the changes, of how people felt about whatever the show was doing with the initial episodes, and with those initial story beats, I think there's a lot to be said for, the fact that the pacing really feels active in this season so far. I don't think season 2 really felt like this, except in Rook's Rest, and maybe a little bit in episode 7, The Red Sowing, when they had all the Dragonseed contenders show up to get literally barbecued. So, yeah, that was a time. But as far as character work, I think the episode also does some interesting stuff. We learn a lot about, some people's new motivations. We have people kind of confirm their loyalties. We see people show a little bit of grit. I mean, just when you think Aegon has no fight in him, he's like, nah, this is what I'm doing, or I'm going to die trying. And I find that very interesting. I also, I mentioned Rhaenyra already, but I have to point out, it is very cool to some degree that the show is painting her as somebody who is willing to get up. Like, actually get up and keep going. It was almost like she had Sir Alan in her ear.
Get up.
So, yeah. What did you guys think of the way things played out in this episode? Were you surprised by anything? Were there any, changes that sort of confused you? Were there any changes that, kind of delighted you? I mean, yeah, let's get into it.
There was one change in particular that I was a little disappointed by, which is them kind of glossing over the battle called Fish Feed, which is what Daemon and the Riverlands are singing about.
Yeah.
This is literally the bloodiest battle in that entire war.
And this is different from the Red Fork battle we saw in episode 1?
Yes. So when Simon Strong comes to, celebrate
to
with
give them the wine.
Yeah, he's like, hey, here's the wine to celebrate your victories at the Red Fork and the Lake Shore.
Yes.
Now, the battle at the Lake Shore is also known as the Fish Feed. And that battle was a really, really, really climactic episode in the war. Not only were the Tullys not even in that battle, Daemon wasn't at that battle. And the fact that they just kind of gloss over it. I mean, the Winter Wolves were at that battle. Daemon wasn't. But the fact that they gloss over it, I think that would have been a cool battle to show. Especially
maybe they're keeping the Winter Wolves close to the chest in terms of what they're capable of and what's Roddy the Ruin is going to bring to the table.
Yeah.
Show-wise.
you know what? That's fair. There is one more huge battle where they play a very pivotal role. I just think it would have been nice to see a little bit more of the actual fish feed, because it was so bloody and so climactic that it literally turned the water of, of the lake
red,
bloody. Like, so it's definitely something. But that means that they're getting close to Harrenhal as well.
Yes, it does. And also, did you guys recognize anybody specific among the group that was singing? Like, obviously, we saw Oscar Tully, we saw Roddy the Ruin, Daemon was there. But I feel like there's some other people in there that may be some fan favorites from the text in terms of like Riverlands and
yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to take this one, Afam, or should I?
No, because I always struggle with like who is who from one to the other until they do something. I'm like, oh, that's you. So I be struggling.
Let's start with the babe with the eye paint.
That's possibly Alicent Blackwood, also known as Black
so
Ali. Yeah. But with these things, another thing that, is kind of like I try and wait sometimes is they tend to merge characters.
Yeah,
or at least it seems like they tend to merge characters. I think it's Black Ali. And she plays a very, very pivotal role in the story, and is related to other folks who play a pivotal role that has not been introduced yet. So I'm just interested to see in this war in the Riverlands exactly what Ryan Condor and the showrunners are aiming to do with some of these characters, because there's times where they really step up that we seem to be glossing over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I hope that it's more strategy than narrative convenience, but I guess that's left to be seen in terms of how things play out, especially in the second half of the season, because it feels right now to me that even with this, increased momentum from season 2, they're still in the seed planting stage for this season. So yeah, right now we're kind of just getting to know all the people. I'm pretty sure Roddy is going to do some interesting stuff. And we still don't know what Ormond's group is going to be up to this season. They're kind of, they're kind of in the background. And, we haven't even seen, any confirmation of who Daron is yet. So, yeah, I guess that's going to be something to watch. And I actually like how, in this episode, the show keeps its streak of just continuing where it leaves off, right? So these cliffhangers are immediately paid off. We, not too long into the episode, discover that Corlys is in fact alive. So, great for him, I guess, and great for his children and grandchildren that are looking for him. Sending dragons just to make sure all the trial key people are dealt with is a nice touch. I definitely enjoy it. It was funny to me because it's like, okay, these guys have already lost, but the episode starts with a dragon burning guys, and it's like, yeah, just to be thorough.
No, but honestly, yes, just to be thorough. And even with that, I think that there were still some Triarchy survivors. If you guys remember that scene where some of them are fighting on like a shore. So yeah, Omo, you guys.
Yeah, and thorough, we see them get to where Aegon is, right? And even Larys is like, wow, so Tyler actually succeeded.
Yeah, they did get to Aegon. Yep, they did get to Aegon. Which Aegon was on, I believe they were on their way. I believe they were on their way to the coast in order to get them to Dragonstone.
Yes.
So yeah, they must have gotten really far.
By the way, in the process of looking at that, I realized the answer to our question from last week. Who captured them? It was soldiers from House Staunton, the Rook's Rest guys.
Staunton, really?
Oh, revenge.
House Staunton, the house that owns Lord Staunton, like he's the Lord of Rook's Rest. So basically, they were kind of around the Rook's Rest area, not too far, because Rook's Rest is technically like in the Crownlands. So basically, those guys are patrolling the general area, looking for people who are loyal to Aegon, and that's why they're so quick to put people to the sword, because their home was just destroyed. So they want all the smoke.
So right. Now that I look at the crest, the sigil, it's House Staunton. I thought it was House Malice.
They want all the smoke. Like they that's why they were ready to. They were like, "Oh, you didn't declare for Rhaenyra in 5 seconds? Mad, you're going to die." Like it's just So that's why. So it's interesting that they decided to take them on that journey to the coast, because technically the coast is not necessarily that far. So who knows how long they had even been traveling, how short they had been traveling before those Cherokee guys just showed up and decided to mess things up. And we see that the specific guy, the captain, he gets killed. A bunch of other guys in that team get killed. And I mean, Aegon fit stab sharp, but
Aegon was going in, man.
It's so interesting because Tom Glencarny is fantastic. He's literally stabbing this guy to death, but he's screaming in pain because he can't move his body. Actually, it's so funny. Oh my goodness.
But honestly, shout out to him for the presence of mind to grab Arrowhead and hide it.
Exactly.
To do something.
We literally see him come down and collect that arrowhead, and it's just like, okay, great.
Isn't that what you want from your king? The one true king.
I don't want my king to get burned by his brother. That's for sure.
It's true.
And honestly, the whole thing with Aegon fleeing, like, there's a bunch of stuff that has to do with people's movements in this season that has to happen, right? And at the same time, the show is able to create its own motivations for those things actually happening. So I think in the book, they said that, for example, Aemond didn't really have to be asked twice to assume the throne. And in the book, Aegon flees because Rhaenyra is getting close. But in the show, he's running from Aemond. So that creates this interesting drama between the brothers on the green side that is then stacked on top of the general conflict that they have with Rhaenyra. So Aegon is fighting for his life in a way that's different from the book, because he's not just running from the opposition. He feels like he can't trust anybody on his own side anymore.
Yeah.
So that has real potential to create some interesting story beats for the show specifically. And I really hope they make good use of that, because Aegon clearly still has, some fire left. And I think it makes sense to have him use that in a way that actually propels the story, maybe sees him grow as a character. Because Glencarny is doing such a good job of making the audience actually care about this guy. He has real personality. He feels flawed in a sense, as opposed to just a mouthpiece. I feel like when I first read The Princess and the Queen, it was like this guy barely had any agency. It was essentially like Kristen Cole, Alicent, and Otto were doing all of the thinking. But clearly this guy has something to bring.
Stop it.
Exactly. The rightful heir. I know y'all are doubting him, but whatever.
Man. It's fine. You know what? Let's not even get into that right now. I know who's sitting on the Iron Throne at the moment, and it is not him.
But with that in mind, though, does it make sense for him to be essentially going back to the home base of the people who just captured him that they have now just escaped?
I mean, the only reason I think he would want to go back to Rook's Rest
to meet Cole
is, but Cole isn't at Rook's Rest. He said he has a garrison there.
Yeah, I think there's a garrison there, and Cole is kind of not. I think they've essentially been just in that general area since, because after Rook's Rest they returned to King's Landing, then they left again. So I just wonder if Cole will even be there Like maybe he thinks Cole will have returned, or if there's anybody there who can take him to Cole, or for all he knows, the garrison that's stationed there has been decimated.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
So I just wonder, it's an interesting choice going back there.
And also, like, if he's trying to avoid Aemond, right? When Aemond is a big part of their strategy to march towards Harrenhal, like, why would it make sense for him to go there? I hope it's certainly revealed why he wants to go there. But
yeah, I mean, well, he says out loud that it's because of Cole's garrison, but I mean, maybe if there's something a bit more,
feet.
Yeah, maybe there's a deeper reason, or maybe there's something a bit more nuanced in there, something layered. Maybe something he isn't telling Larys. Perhaps he actually doesn't even trust Larys all that much. Just
of course
yet.
not. Larys gave him up so quick. And I don't think he could be sure whether he was doing that for his own self-preservation or for the preservation of both of them, ostensibly.
I mean, it turned out to be for the preservation of both of them, right? So
I mean, but just
that's
because
in retrospect.
We're seeing that in retrospect. We don't know if Larys would have been like, save me, you know.
Because to be fair, I guess I always saw it as Larys, you know, trying to make sure that they both kept their heads. But I guess from Aegon's perspective, it's like, bro, what do you mean you're telling them my name?
Dude, Larys literally killed his brother and his father. Like, let's not forget that.
How can you trust such a guy?
You can't trust someone like that. All because of feet? Come on now.
Oh my God.
Oh, that guy loves feet, man.
Shout out to all the feet.
No shout out, man. No shout out.
Men aspire to that which they do not have. It's an interesting point. I guess as far as Aemond is concerned, you know, people sort of need to understand his movements too, because he's been stationed at King's Landing this entire time. He's not been leaving. And really, the strategy right now is, like, I think on both sides is, it really just boils down to, let's regroup with our guys and attack the enemy. That's what everyone is trying to do right now. So, just as an example, Daemon is in the Riverlands and he is regrouped with the River Lords there and the Winter Wolves, and they're wreaking havoc, right? But Aemond, his goal would be essentially to meet up with Cole so that they can then go and face Daemon and his guys. But the reason Cole and his guys can't do anything, because I'm sure some people may be wondering, like, why are these guys just sitting around? The reason they're sitting around is, this is the era of dragons. You don't just send 15,000, 20,000 men marching on the ground without a dragon to patrol the skies above them. If not, your whole army just gets burned by the enemy. Like, it's really as simple as that. Because it's not as if these guys are traveling with scorpions, which probably would be a good choice, but I guess they just keep their scorpions on castle walls. So it's an interesting choice. And I feel like, as far as Aemond himself is concerned, you know, he has a lot going on in his head that he isn't revealing.
Yeah.
And I think he has some serious issues, so to speak.
To say the least.
To say the least. One of those issues is definitely not his hair. This guy, his hair is luscious no matter what is happening. Like, it's actually kind of crazy. Like, when you watch him land at Harrenhal, and, you know, his movements are so fluid and the hair is just flowing too. I'm just like, bro, like, what does he use?
Moisturizing is the key. All right, he moisturizes.
But I mean, one has to question his decision to attack Harrenhal directly, right? Like, sure.
I mean, he was supposed to go there, and, you know, that's where Alicent told him to go. And, you know, when he kissed her, and
but
he was
you would have thought he would meet up with his troops first to give some type of ground cover. But the hubris, right, is that he's just like, oh, I'm going to fly straight there. I think he was very lucky that it happened to be that Harrenhal was unguarded at the time.
Yeah, because he definitely would have been cooked. And I think
I disagree, low-key, because what's the difference between what he did and what Rhaenyra did?
Because unlike him, Rhaenyra had someone on the inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
He didn't. He
the only
was
strategy
just
points you
flying
can
to.
give him is that, okay, he wanted to quickly destroy whatever garrison was there. But then if you're just doing that, then you're not necessarily landing. Like, you just destroy them and
Yeah,
you go.
like, who is going to defend you when you
But the
land?
garrison was already destroyed, no? Unless I misremember.
I mean,
It's like
Daemon he stationed the garrison there and left to join the guys at the Riverlands. And
Yeah.
now he's going to King's Landing after receiving the news
Yeah.
about Jace.
yeah. So
So-
no, what I mean, it wasn't a full host of people.
It wasn't
there. It's kind of
necessarily
similar
a
to when
full
No,
host,
Daemon
they
It's
landed.
enough.
left. They are the ones that left to meet the
Exactly.
Lannister people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, but there's still people there, though, and they are essentially keeping the place in check until further notice. And by the way, those people probably believe that those idiot dragon seeds are protecting them. They don't know that those guys have gone.
yeah. If they hadn't gone, that would have been a perfect opportunity.
Perfect
for them.
Literally, like, the
Opportunity.
war could have ended.
Right
Yeah,
there,
like,
if
man.
they had
part of
taken
it would
down
have ended.
Vhagar, which
Because
Vhagar is the
Silverwing
main
and
thing.
Vermithor could have for
It was
sure.
3 of them, and
Oh, that's
and
true. And the
Yeah,
sea smoke.
like,
Sea
they
smoke,
actually
yeah.
would have ended up succeeding. It's possible, quite possible, maybe even likely that one of them or more, or 2 of them would have died in the process, but they would have won.
Well, they'd have won.
So-
Yeah.
So, like, them not doing this, like, there's a reason that we have to kind of take stock of the error, like the grave error they've made here. I'm telling you, few things have satisfied me this year as much as of getting backhand slapped by Daemon. I enjoyed that so much because somebody needed to slap this guy.
Needed
Have you
to,
noticed
yeah.
he's not talking again?
Yeah.
He
Literally,
slapped him
this is
once,
the-
he stopped talking.
This is literally why I left the Blacks, because you see the impact Daemon is having in everything that's going on in Rhaenyra's council once he has arrived. So they spent a whole season with their most valuable piece separated, and then they're surprised that people don't want to vote for them in the next election cycle. Come on.
Bro, say votes for them. This is a
Come on.
monarchy, my guy.
Come on.
Ain't no votes out here, man.
That's so funny. But you know, Daemon, like you said, has a lot of influence. And
Yeah.
the funny thing about that influence is that it reaches to the other side. Because Aemond is kind of, it's funny to me, right? It's like he's dark Daemon, but that's what I would call him. But Daemon is already dark. So
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
like
even know- it's-
LARPing Daemon.
it's like a Superman and Mysterio type of thing almost, except they're both handsome. Like, it's just, it's funny. Like, it's interesting to me because Aemon forces the strongs to fight him, which is a massive but also cleverly written display of his deep insecurity, his fear. Like, he says he's not moving from King's Landing because he has to protect the place. And that is true, right? If he leaves King's Landing, then it becomes vulnerable to the people on Dragonstone. And, you know, that's a huge issue. And obviously we see that's literally what happens as soon as he goes. But, you know, on a deep, practically subliminal level, it's like he's not willing to acknowledge that he's afraid to fight Daemon. Like, that he feels that on a deep level, and I don't think he's reckoned with that yet, even though Helena can clearly see it, and Alicent sees it too, which is how she was able to manipulate him into leaving the city. And don't get me wrong, right? Guarding cities, strongholds, and garrisons is important. Like, the main reason, and frankly, the simple reason that Daemon was able to destroy the Lannisters is because Aemond wasn't there to ensure them. Like,
yeah.
dragons are the deciding factor in this war, but they are still living things that can be in multiple places at once. And that's sort of the deciding factor for the people who are controlling the dragons. It's like, okay, where do we send these people? So that's one of the reasons that the Dragonseed is choosing just on their own to leave Harrenhal is a big blow, because it's like
a
you were
huge
sent
blow.
there for a reason. Like, the people in charge decided, okay, this is where we want these specific dragons to be, and now they are not. And because of that, Aemond can't be dealt
Yeah.
with. He goes in there, he destroys the garrison, he kills the strongs. He has all these
And
guys
gets
running towards him.
Stabbed.
Yeah, he got stabbed very
Yes,
badly. I mean,
cooked.
it's so wild how he killed those guys very easily, and he to walk in and say, draw your sword, and then they tell you, I don't have one. And he's like,
And you say,
get
get
one.
one.
He said, get one. I'm like, bro, what do you mean? Like, relax. But Simon Strong, bro. A madman walks into your
R.I.P. to a
house. You
real
don't
one,
just go and
man.
start touching his
Yeah.
shoulders. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He
that's
thought
just
he thought
who he
this was
is.
Daemon. He thought this was
Yeah.
Daemon.
And
He thought
the
he could
show
charm him the way.
is doing
Because if you
interesting
think
work
about
there.
it, he
Yeah.
and Daemon came in the exact same way. That was
Yeah,
how
that's
Daemon
what the show
came
was about saying.
into.
The show is doing interesting work in showing us the parallels between these two guys. Like, this guy, he actually looks up to Daemon in a lot of ways. If this family was not at war, that would be a very interesting relationship. They would be an unstoppable force. Like, nobody would ever be able to challenge them.
Literally.
And
what
they were
can you
already
do?
unchallengeable. So,
Yeah.
you know, him coming in and arriving basically the exact same way Daemon does. Like, the main difference is that the place was poorly garrisoned before. And the only reason it's garrisoned now is because the people Daemon left there. And it was raining. So he lands, he makes his way to that dining room, and, you know, he has a different conversation. So Simon Strong is like, okay, I've seen this before. Like, this happened literally a season ago to the episode. Like, 8 episodes ago, I was fine.
Yeah.
So I should be able to talk to this guy. But he doesn't realize that the version he's talking to right now, he's not stable.
Nope,
Yeah.
not stable at all.
He's not stable. It's crazy. It's actually insane. How can you
Yeah,
say
but-
get one?
R.I.P. to Sir Simon, though. He was
Yeah.
definitely he definitely grew on me as a character.
I liked
How
him. I really
witty
did.
he was, how funny he
Yeah.
was. You
Honestly,
know,
House Strong is the best house in my opinion because I've loved every single member of House Strong except
including
for...
Larys.
Oh shit, I forgot about him.
I thought you were even
forgot
thinking about
him.
Jace.
No, but you know what? They're all intelligent except for Jace. Every member of House Strong is intelligent.
Wait, Jace is a Velaryon. Excuse me. Jace
Oh,
is a
sorry.
true-born Velaryon.
I
thought
babies
Jace
ain't black. Get them Michael
Jace
Jackson babies out of here.
I thought Jace had the privilege of, you know, being from 3 houses. He has a mixed heritage. But I hear you.
Mixed heritage.
What are you guys talking about? Jace is a Velaryon, man.
Oh,
You
you're
guys
right.
need to stop this.
He's a Velaryon.
Well, he's dead,
And-
so whatever.
Even his death shows that he's a Velaryon. And I was thinking about this
True.
regarding
Sure.
you know, him and his brother, right? They both died on their dragons and with their dragons as Targaryens, but in the sea
But in
as
the
Velaryons.
sea. Mhm.
And that is poetic. It's sad, but it is poetic, and it shows that somebody at least is paying attention to characterization over in House of the Dragonland. So
Speaking of Jace, man, that's opening scene with Rhaenyra and receiving
Acting.
Jace's body. Emma
Acting.
Darcy,
acting,
they are an
Acting.
amazing actor, honestly.
capital A acting. Like what?
Like wow. That
Oscar now.
Jace, get up.
Emma's
up, Jace.
performance throughout the episode is just stellar. Like, it is breathtaking. Like that whole
Yeah.
thing at the beginning of Jace, what have you done? Like, it just this processing of grief shown to us in real time from a mother who has lost another child. Think about this.
Mhm.
This is not the first child she's losing. She had the stillbirth, then Lucerys died, and now this. And in the book, by the way, remember we talked about how Aegon and Viserys, the younger 2 sons, were on that boat heading to Pentos, sailing right into this conflict. I talked about how Aegon made it back, but Viserys was captured.
Viserys, yeah. So
In the book, Rhaenyra actually thinks she lost 2 sons in this battle. So she's going through a lot right now
yeah, she
as a
is.
character.
Yeah.
And that grief is really, really shown here by Emma.
They were
The
amazing.
acting, just the overall emotion, the reaction, the line readings. Like Emma's line readings throughout the episode, from "Have you not betrayed your queen?" to
Mhm.
just that excellent reading of "Bring Aegon, the usurper, to me." Like, that was so good they had to put it in the trailer.
Honestly.
Like, it was.
It
So, I
was-
was like, when is this line going to come up? And I was so
Yeah.
pleased to see it in episode 2.
It
It was
was
like
amazing. Yeah.
that, just the rage, the actual rage. And, you know, I feel like, you know, speaking of Emma's performance, speaking of Rhaenyra, like if we pivot to how things go for the Blacks in this episode, it reminds me of some stuff I saw after episode 1, where people are like, what is going on in this war? Why does Rhaenyra keep losing people? Like, Rhaenyra and Corlys are like losing everybody. And then
That's
the Greens, they've barely lost anyone or anything. It's like, when are they going to lose something? So now to see at the end of the episode, like Rhaenyra goes from losing Jace to being like, okay, I need to make a decisive stand here. You know, we discover that Mr. Hightower has been in the box
the whole time.
That is the part of it that I think stretches the relative imagination for me.
Okay,
because
tell us why.
He's a high member of a very high-ranking house who was supposed to have arrived at a certain place a while ago. I think he was supposed to head back to, Old Town. Which I don't know how long the travel time is between.
I feel like
King's
people are
Landing
probably expecting it's in the Reach, right? So I feel like people are expecting that he's still on the road because it's quite a bit of a journey, and there's no one there of quote unquote consequence to check whether or not he's arrived yet, because Aemond is on the battlefield right now waiting. Right? So Otto hasn't arrived, but no one is truly sure if that's the case, and they wouldn't really be able to check why that's the case because everyone is occupied. And I think the end of season 2,
no one thought to send a raven.
Yeah, I think it's also the fact that not that much time has passed, most likely, because
that's true.
The end of season 2, we're shown that he's in this box, and essentially 2 episodes later, he is brought out
before the
Queen, looking at the way that works, judging by Rhaenyra's excitement about Alicent's words in episode 1, that conversation that would have just happened maybe like the previous day or something like that. So it's fresh how she's telling everybody, oh, Alicent was just here. I've spoken to her. I trust what she's saying. Immediately that happens, basically, they have to go and fight war in the Gullet. And now, since the Gullet, it's been maybe a week or so. I would say a week, if that. Maybe even less, right? Because Rhaenyra has just not been talking to anybody. She's not eating. She's in bed. Daemon has made his way back. It would have taken time for the the message to reach Daemon. Now that it has, he's back. So I would say that at a maximum, it's been like 2 weeks. So I feel like that's not enough time for Otto to make it back to Old Town for people to be like, oh, why isn't he here yet? So on some level, it does make sense logistically that his capture would have gone unnoticed, especially since it was done by an insider. Larys.
That's true. Larys, yeah.
Larys is the one who captured him and kept him there as insurance. So
you
clearly,
see how he's playing both sides, though.
He said it was kept as a gift for you, Daemon, if you were to ever return, which means that if they didn't flee, he was going to say, keep me alive. I'm on your side, and I'm on your side so much that I've captured Otto for you. That was basically what he was planning to do. Even now, it's a seed because, Aegon is clearly right to not quite trust him yet.
Exactly. He's very right
game is he
not
playing?
trust him.
I don't understand what his game is.
The Game of Thrones, man. It's all about climbing.
Yeah.
It's about the ladder, as Littlefinger said.
Yeah.
He's looking for every single advantage, no matter where it comes from.
Is he a better Littlefinger than Littlefinger?
Yeah, he's the closest thing this show has to a Baelish. And
I think
one might
remains
argue
to
he's
be
better.
seen.
But I don't think we can decide yet.
Yeah,
okay,
it remains to be seen. Let's see how his plans, how they bloom. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was definitely sad to see Otto go. He was, Racy fans like great actor. Some of his statements are hilarious. That look he gave Aegon is still a meme till this day. But yeah, it was
the king is my grandson, and my grandson is a fool.
My grandson is a fool.
My grandson is a fool.
I said, okay, Shakespeare.
But
oh my God.
I mean, Rhaenyra being the one to do it is also very significant for her character.
I love how he was like, please
don't
spare me the trouble of being hacked at.
And then he got hacked at.
Yeah.
Oh, not really. He did a decent job.
That Valerian steel, man.
Wow, not you giving Rhaenyra credit for something.
I have to, man. Hey, I am the average man. Okay, I'm an everyday
For
person.
somebody
I'm
who
just
has
out
never
here.
killed anyone like that, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think
second
Rhaenyra has
swing.
killed anyone before,
No,
right?
No.
So
no.
At least
Well,
not
just
by
her
herself.
sons by giving them a stupid part.
Wow. Ouch. Ouch,
You
ouch,
can't do
ouch,
this.
ouch, ouch.
You can't do this.
No, but like, do you guys ever watch this show Shogun?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
So
love
when he
Shogun.
was talking about the first person he killed after the guy tried to seppuku, he essentially hacked him to death because he didn't know what he was
Yeah,
doing.
of course.
Or
Yeah.
Rhaenyra on the second swing, come on.
Clean, yeah. It
But
was
that's what
pretty
I'm
clean
saying.
on
It's not just
seconds.
first of all, I would assume she's stronger than a 9-year-old boy. So she definitely is. That's number
Now,
one.
that is yet to be seen. You know, she's
And
not the
number
rightful
two,
king. So
Valyrian
Oh,
steel.
come on.
Valerian steel.
True.
Because
Very sharp.
she was about to use her own sword, which I'm sure is also Valerian steel. But Daemon was like, he makes a clear point. This is the moment you become queen. Like,
Yeah.
there are people watching us now. We've just made a big show of landing here. Same way Aemond just landed and immediately fumbled it. But they have landed here. They've fought people. And by the way, you can actually see in the way that they fight, like just the smoothness of the motion, how they're just cutting through guys like butter, how Aemond and Daemon are similar, which I don't know if people notice this. Like, I guess book readers may be more aware just because you see the names more often. But Aemond is literally just Daemon with the D taken to the back of the word.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
George R. R. Martin did that very deliberately.
He wasn't feeling very creative when he was coming up with these names.
Or
man.
maybe he was, and these guys are really supposed to come off
Be
as mirror
foils.
images of each other and
For
foil
each other.
yeah. So they get in and like they finally get to the throne room. They've actually made it, and then she reads that amazing line, "Bring Aegon the Usurper to me." And it's like heads have to roll. Like Daemon says it. Heads actually have to roll. And I have to say, Alicent walking in there and being like, first of all, okay, let's just as a side note, you guys are trying to escape the city. Why are you dressed like the rich ladies you are wearing? Like,
you
what
could
is
even put
going
on
on?
some rags.
So
Hey,
when
I
they
will
brought them
not
into that
tolerate
room, I was
disrespect
like,
for the queen.
when they brought them
Okay.
into the throne room, I'm like, yeah, of course they caught them. Like, of course they caught them. Like, they were not going anywhere. This is insane.
But also, I think another reason they caught them was because Jasper Wilde had become privy to her plans. I think
Yes.
he had probably let some people know that, you know,
Oh,
she was
definitely.
up to
And
something.
I have some thoughts on that in a second, actually.
Yeah,
but-
so do I on Jasper's wild scene. Mhm.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? She was promised Aegon. Like it was Aegon's head that was supposed to rule, but he's not here. So it's like, okay, what do we do? So basically, they have to kill 2 members of the small council in order for that to work and for essentially in order to compensate for the fact that Aegon is not available
Aegon
to
is
die.
in there. Yeah.
So the fact that Daemon hands her that sword, and you know, his sword is Dark Sister, which was wielded by Visenya during Aegon's conquest, right? So that is an ancestral Targaryen sword. Like, there is heritage in that sword as far as the Targaryens being in Westeros. So, and I believe Aemond is currently wielding Blackfire, Aegon the Conqueror's own sword that belongs to his older brother, whom he is trying to kill, mind you, messy. But Daemon holds out his sword, and he's essentially like, okay, take mine, because Valerian steel, it's lighter, but it's also sharper and stronger. Like, you can't really break it. So he basically makes it as easy for her as possible. But because she's doing it with her eyes closed, she hits this guy in the back. And when he falls, you can actually see that cut in his back was deep. From the small thing she did. That's just how crazy that Valerian steel is. She was able to cut his head off on the second try. And yeah, I mean, I looked at Alicent's face, and she's the whole thing of like, okay, I don't know if killing my dad was part of our deal.
But it had to be. That is who
But he
orchestrated
had to.
everything.
He had to die. Like,
He had to be.
even in the text, I believe Otto Hightower is one of the first people to die after
He was the
Rhaenyra and Daemon
first person to die.
It was the first person to die, right?
It was Otto first, yeah.
So yeah, that means the story is really making progress. I mean, obviously this is the 3rd season. They plan on doing 4. So we're kind of in the real action-packed section of the story. So big players like Otto would end up off the board at this point. And Otto barely even did that much in season 2, to be fair. Otto
No.
really was a driver in season 1, and
Season 1, yeah.
and I think, Rizzi fans, like we said, has paid his dues, and now I guess you can catch him on Star City, the new spin-off of For All Mankind.
I didn't even know that. That's
yeah,
cool.
he's one of the main characters there. Maybe this was, he probably finished his job and then went on to do that immediately. So yeah, well done to Rizzi fans. Like, he was a really, really fun person to watch in this show. He always had
Absolutely.
agency, and yeah, he was very consequential. Like, he influenced Viserys, he influenced Alicent, he influenced his grandson who became the king, he influenced his grandson who did not become the king. Like, remove someone like Otto from the story and the story fundamentally changes, right? You can't always say that about every character. Like, Otto is the kind of character you want in a really active story like this. So, I guess now we'll have to see what Rhaenyra does with that power.
Speaking of high towers, the scene with Lord Jasper and Alicent.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I don't know if Ryan Condor has seen, the discourse that has been had about scenes of, assaults and Game of Thrones, and whether...
Yeah, I was literally just going to say, like, let's actually decide, like, here, the three of us right now, what does this really add to the plot? Like, did we need this? Did we need this to know that Iron Rod was an annoying guy? Did we need this to know that Alicent, who has already been through quite a lot, this version of Alicent, by the way, has way less agency already. So
yeah. I
wonder,
think it was
like,
just more of like Alicent had just been through so much, and like it just.
So we decided
even
to have her
she's
almost
the Queen
assaulted.
Dowager. Literally, man,
yeah, like, it makes no sense. Like, even if Alicent had been found out, right? That's still the Queen Dowager. That's your king's mom.
It doesn't matter though, because he has power over her in that moment. So because he's like, I know something that can fuck you over, so now I have agency over you. It's like it's just about like the wickedness of people. I think it's necessary to leave it in. It was hard to watch, it was uncomfortable, but it's just like I feel like that's what happens.
I mean, and the guy is a weirdo. Like,
he is a weirdo,
What?
Literally.
He does. I don't know if it adds anything necessarily to the overarching
and that might be my
story.
issue with it. Yeah,
like, it doesn't add anything to Alicent's characterization. It doesn't add anything to the overarching story. The only thing it succeeds is in making Lord Jasper look like a weirdo pervert. I don't. Maybe it pays off later. I just don't understand.
There's only one thing I can think about for this in terms of how it may affect the story and add value to our understanding of what's happening. And that's in the fact that we learn that Sir Rickard has betrayed her. Because he said that he found out from Sir Rickard, who was trying to warn her not to leave his charge again.
Yeah.
Sir Rickard, who followed her into the Kingswood. And now it's like, why? I just keep thinking, like, why would Sir Rickard actually do that? Like, that's kind of crazy. Like, it's a little crazy to me. And it makes me wonder, like, is Alicent now also going to be watching her back? Because generally the royal family have specific people who watch them, right? And Sir Rickard was her guy. So now Alicent, on top of everything, is unguarded, right? So, his words were her own sworn protector cautioned him. So I would always wonder, like, would Rickard Thorne actually do something like that? That's a little crazy. And I can't really, I feel like maybe the goal there was to figure out a way for the audience to understand that Alicent was no longer safe because Rickard was no longer on her side. But then they decided, like, okay, maybe they found themselves thinking, okay, what would someone like Jasper Wilde do in this situation? And they probably knowing that they wanted him to die at the end of the episode with Otto, it was like, okay, not only is it a question of what would he do in this situation, what would someone like him do in this situation, but also how do we get him captured? So I feel like this was sort of, a narratively convenient way for all those things to happen. The problem is that it ended up being done with, Alicent getting almost assaulted, and all while proving that, he's the only person you kind of want around. because that guy is fighting for his life too. So I don't know. I can't really decide if every character has taken leave of their senses, or if the writers have taken leave of, their character motivation tracking. And I worry people will think it's the latter based on some of the previous reactions to these specific writers' work. And this episode, by the way, is written by Sarah Hess, who the fandom of the show unfortunately loves to hate, and they've been kind of dragging her since episode 109, which is the episode that where Aegon gets coronated and Rhaenys
her job.
Flies out of the ground with her dragon, the beast beneath the boards, and then chooses to not kill anyone. A lot of people took issue with that as a writing choice. Yeah, so because then it's like, okay, why didn't she just end all of them? But the answer to that question can only be because the story needs her to not end all of them yet.
Because the story needs it.
And when that's the case, that's when you know that the writing choice is somewhat questionable, and that's the issue people had with that. Because essentially it just wouldn't make any narrative sense that she wouldn't just destroy everybody right here and now. Like, they're all defenseless. There's a dragon here. She just leaves. So that's I hope that I know there'll definitely be some issue with this scene. I can already tell, but I'm curious to see what the discussion is like, and I just hope people are nice to Sarah Hess, because there is a lot of like unity in this episode as well. Even aside from Jasper, he tries to show unity. He's like, oh, for the love of the gods, and it's like, bro, nobody likes you.
Nobody likes for the
one
love
of my
of
favorite
what gods,
moments was, after, like, I'm telling you, performances are just amazing in this show. Because tell me why Rhaenyra finishes cutting Otto's head off, and she's holding she's holding the sword like this. She's like, please just please just take.
She ain't about that life, man.
And then Daemon immediately just
life.
like, yep, he just nods, he goes, grabs his sword and just like removes this guy's head.
So cleanly, bro.
He said, tell my lady wife. He said,
tell my lady wife what? Bro, we don't like you. Nobody likes you. Even the City Watch guy, Lord Luther, he was just looking like, whoa. He was, like, when the head came off, even he was like, oh, gnarly. And Daemon was supposed to cut heads in this room. This same way he killed Vaemond.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, now that has happened, and of course, Alicent walks in right as Rhaenyra sits the Iron Throne. How do we think Alicent is going to take this?
As I said, we already know how she's going to take it, because she is giving you the three people who she needs out alive. It's her daughter, and her grandchild.
I fear he's right. Everyone else, like,
everyone
feel
else cast them as already
at this point. Yeah, like Alicent, I think it's definitely a blow to her that her father is dead. But I think on a deep level, she knows that. Like, I mean, she had already resigned herself to like not caring about what happened to anybody other than her daughter and granddaughter, right? Apparently.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Someone like Otto would never have lasted in this situation. She knew that Rhaenyra and Daemon were going to kill everybody, which is why they tried to secure their own way out. And she is still fighting for her life because, Rhaenyra obviously ends up in King's Landing. And like we said, like, people are going to be finding it interesting that she's finally moving and doing something. Because from the show's perspective, it's like, people who are watching the show, it's like, why isn't Rhaenyra doing anything? That's a question they always had. Like, why is nothing happening in this regard? And I feel like, the reason is because in the book, she kind of just stays in Dragonstone and King's Landing. She's not moving much. So how are they going to make that work? So that's why they had to keep inventing all these reasons why she couldn't go and do this, go and do that. And this, like, oh, my counsel is keeping me locked up, da-da-da. In fact, literally in episode 1, we see that they went so far into inventing reasons why Rhaenyra can't leave the house that they had Jace lock her in her room. Right? Like, that doesn't happen in the book. So now she's here.
Doesn't happen.
And Alicent also, certain things that are happening around her, and she has to, or I guess the show has to kind of make those things make sense somehow. They have to invent the how. And I have to say, though, she's not being discreet enough. It's starting to become slightly miraculous that she's still alive, because like, you walk into the City Watch's garrison in broad daylight. Like, Daemon says something earlier in the episode. He's like, he's always seen Alicent more as a conniver than somebody who would try to deceive outright. So it's funny to me that she then goes in broad daylight to essentially not have that level of guile he's giving her credit for. So
I think there's something to say about her planning to flee, where it's like, okay, maybe I don't need as much subterfuge because I'm planning to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I guess so. And even as far as like Helena and the role that she's playing, like she's starting to ask questions. I feel like there's going to be stuff going on with her soon. But there's only like there's only so much, right, that they can do with that character, with how quiet she is and how little agency she tends to show. So yeah, I'm not sure. And like I said, all while is also fighting for his life, we see that he ends up getting spared again. Like 2 for 2, this guy in season 3 almost getting his head cut off. Like
the only black man in Westeros.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Also, do you guys notice, by the way, how the crowd moved closer when it was time to cut Otto's head off? I was like, what's wrong with people? Like that's crazy. Like human depravity is actually
they want to see. They want to see.
Because why is everything gladiatorial? Like why is everything content? Like what do you guys mean that they're cutting somebody's head off? And then when the head goes off, they're like, ooh, like. Behave yourselves.
They want to see, man. They want to see.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, hats off to everyone in that whole scene. I think that was one of the biggest set pieces of the episode. Definitely one of the biggest sections of the episode. And it's funny to me how, Alicent comes in, she has that face, she looks at Rhaenyra as like, oh, I didn't realize we're also killing my dad. And you can hear the saxophones just getting louder. Just around Rhaenyra. She doesn't even know what to say. And that's just so funny to me.
With Rhaenyra now taking the throne, right? Where does this leave the Greens? Like,
fucked.
Well, yeah, like I think how much more legit now that we don't know, they don't know where Aegon is. Is she still able to get coronated while there's a king still technically out there?
I don't know
if this is necessarily.
I feel like that's a challenge she's going to face.
That's a challenge, yeah.
That's a challenge she's going to face. Like, mark my words. Because, trust me, it's not just about flying in and sitting on the Iron Throne. You have to get the faith on your side. The Septon has to coronate you, right? And those guys are typically very annoying. Like, they're just annoying.
That'll be interesting to see how she navigates, further challenges to her legitimacy.
And she has, Daemon at her side, and he even says that in his conversation when they were about to leave, when the Maester of Dragonstone and Celtigar are saying goodbye to them, or at least greeting them, and they're like, yo, the Velaryon host is scattered, they can't defend you. And Daemon's like, she has me. And I just have to say, by the way, props to Celtigar. He's being brave. Like last time, Bartimos, Celtigar tried to talk to Rhaenyra. She slapped him. She slapped him. She's, like, you can see, actually, when he was about to speak, like, he came up and he lowered his voice. He said, I was like, please, just listen to me. Don't slap me.
Sometimes I've been thinking about like perspective in this show, because we know these characters mostly from as a family, so we see a husband, a wife, mother, daughter. You think, oh, Rhaenyra is so nice, but then you think about it, and she just slapped that man at some point. Like literally, she's still a king, so she still has to be ruthless sometimes. I just find that so interesting.
Absolutely.
And actually, speaking of them leaving, I don't know if anybody noticed this, but Caraxes and Syrax were like hugging right before they flew off to King's Landing.
Yeah, Caraxes and Syrax got a little something going.
That's actually cool. I don't think we've seen dragons really do that in that way before, and like it just reflects how
dragons
like
gotta reproduce somehow.
Yeah, I mean, it's they've actually mentioned before that Syrax has laid eggs, right? So
yep,
it's interesting, and I guess it's more proof that the dragons kind of reflects the temperament of the riders. Like the riders are in a relationship, so I guess the dragons are too. But speaking of relationships, right? What are you guys' thoughts on Daemon and Mysaria's current dynamic? Like, how could it benefit or hinder Rhaenyra? Because this is going to be consequential for sure.
I'm just trying to wonder who does she think she is.
Yeah, I see why Daemon wouldn't trust Mysaria, because it's like, yo, you are just my, you are just.
He's like literally, let's like think about this, right? His ex is living in his house with his wife.
And I think he also clocked that they had been knacking. I think he clocked it. When he was walking with Rhaenyra to the dragon, he's like, oh, yeah, so you got a new advisor, huh? And Rhaenyra is like, I don't need to explain it to you. And he's like, he's like, oh, I know her moves. She got to you too.
That is crazy, bro. Because she's like, I do not need your information. He's like, oh, just an observation.
Just observation.
The way he said it.
He knows. Nah, he's like, there's only one reason that that lady could have just got it out of jail and all of a sudden is on the small council.
Yeah.
Which is... And also, he's been gone. He's like, yeah, she putting it down on.
And it's also like, like he knows her ways too. Like, not just that he knows Rhaenyra's ways, he knows Mysaria's ways.
Ways. He knows
you are just sleep your way to the top type.
Oh my, she's done it, man. She slipped her way to the top. One thing that I saw on social media that was very funny was how like Mysaria's expressions were when Rhaenyra was kind of tweaking in the room and stabbing her dress.
She's like, what the heck?
Ick here a little bit.
I think they're just trying to show that Rhaenyra feels like she is trapped, not necessarily because she's a woman, but because she is being controlled by other people, right? So, yeah, I think that's something to take stock of. Like, that's something that we should have in mind for her character, because there's a lot going on.
That's something Cersei would say.
That's true, actually. She said that a lot. And like, again, these people are going through a lot of loss. And, as we actually start to wind down, I want to talk a bit about Corlys, and, like, he's alive. He did say his iconic line, if this be victory, I pray I never see another. I find it interesting that this man is still so dedicated, and it's a good thing, but I think we're getting to the point where Corlys is going to he's going to probably start demanding things in return.
Yeah,
right? Because,
absolutely.
First of all, High Tide is gone. Or was it Driftmark? Which one did they burn? It was High Tide, right? Was Driftmark?
No. High Tide is the castle. Driftmark is the island. Yeah.
I thought he had two castles. Like, he built a new castle. Didn't they show that in season 1?
I think Driftmark might be the castle he built on High Tide, but I could be wrong.
I think he built a castle called High Tide, where he put like the Driftwood Throne, as it's called, still within the same area. But then Driftmark is the island, and then there's like a specific castle on Driftmark. But I guess he built a different one.
High Tide is the castle. Driftmark is the island.
So the place is kind of, it's in flames, right? And the town around it, Spice Town, it's never actually rebuilt. Spice Town is never actually rebuilt. Let's take a second to actually talk about loss, because, Corlys, all he wants is to build a legacy, right? But in chasing that, he's ended up in multiple wars because of the Targaryens. In the time we've known him, he's lost both his true-born children, the wife he had those children with, her dragon, his castle, his trade port, and the town it's attached to, and essentially all his wealth. And as if to add insult to injury, he still has to serve Rhaenyra because he's handed the queen. So it's like, yo, this guy can't catch a break. And now all he truly has are his 2 bastard sons, his granddaughters, and the name he can bequeath to them. So I'm wondering where he goes from here, and what and how that's going to work in terms of him demanding, new things. And trying to sort of get something back for everything that he's poured in for both Rhaenyra and Daemon. He's essentially like he needs to kind of get something back. And I think about this idea of loss and getting something back, like getting what's owed to you, and it brings Alys to mind, right? I like Daemon's departure, right, from Harrenhal. They're talking, we see Caraxes drinking water, which I don't know if we've seen dragons drinking water like that before, but that was cool. She says, I ask for food, you give me rubies. For all their worth, they will never satisfy my hunger. She's like, I've been alive all this time. Like, she's not, which again, she does not even hide the fact that she's a witch. Like, she literally tells those Dragonseed guys, I'm a witch. Like, who are you? I'm a witch. Simple as that, right? So she tells Daemon as he's going, I want Harrenhal, and he just laughs it off. And I find it interesting that he is treating her like he doesn't know what she's capable of. Like, this is not, he's like, oh, you have no house, no name, no noble husband. And it's like, bro,
I'm a witch.
I'm like, literally. No, but literally though. Bro, I'm a witch. Like, what do you want from me?
Watch yourself before I'll hex you.
She helped build him back up, and this is what he does. And he's like, oh, Rhaenyra can give you some other reward. And that's when she says the line about like food versus rubies. And, she's kind of done with him at that point, which obviously sets up. I mean, his head is probably spinning as well, because, he's just heard about Jace's death. But, and he has like a bit of a reaction there, because he knows, how big of a blow it would be to Rhaenyra on a personal level.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, she tells him, don't come back here. Remember what I told you. Like, she's clearly done with him.
What is she referring to when she says that? Because I think I have an idea.
She's referring to when he arrived at Harrenhal. And they were basically like, you know where Harrenhal is and where the God's Eye is. And, she basically just told him to his face, you will die in this place. She actually says that in season 2. So,
so that's what she's saying.
So that's what she's saying. She's basically saying that if you come back here, you're probably going to die, because as far as I in my witchy ways, I'm concerned, that's the reality that's heading our way.
Yeah.
Right. So what do we think the show actually plans to do with Alys Rivers now? Like, there's a lot about her that is ambiguous in the text. So potentially there's new ground here for book readers and show watchers, viewers of all kinds. Because I mean, especially now that she's with Aemond. So yeah,
I mean, I'm definitely interested to see the interaction between both of them, because we know Aemond is always looking for a mother figure. I'm wondering if she'll be a mother/lover figure to him the way he wants. Incest plus.
Oh, God. Well, at the very least, he's not related to this one.
That we know of.
If they find a way for this guy to be related to Alys Rivers, I'll fight.
There's no way.
That's kind of insane. But yeah, I guess that's probably a good place to start calling it. The one thing we have to do now is really just evaluate how well this episode adapted the text with our trusty Adaptometer. So, as far as points for the Adaptometer, what do you guys have?
Very few points for, I'll be honest.
Okay.
I mean,
interesting.
Otto and Jasper getting killed.
That's
happened.
a plus. So we can give that
1.
Yes, that's 1.
Other than that,
they just went their own way.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, so you guys feel like this episode overall was a bit of a diversion? I mean,
very much.
Yeah, let's actually go through it step by step. We already talked about fish feed, so that one would be a minus, right?
Yes,
because you feel like that would have been more valuable to show on screen.
I think it's a major part of the events of the Dance of Dragons, and
okay,
as a fan, I am sad that it wasn't shown.
Fair enough.
So
Aemond arriving at Harrenhal. That probably gets a +2.
None of
Nope,
that
it gets-
was none of
A
that
minus?
was that would be a 0
Neutral?
if anything.
Yeah. Will be a neutral.
Okay.
Something dropped on my desk.
Okay. Interesting.
He dropped the adaptometer.
So I think in this episode, my issue is just that, not issue, but it's like so many things change that I'm struggling to be like, because even if you want to be like pedantic, I don't think they ever got Jace's body back. I think he just like sank and that was it.
Yeah,
you know?
in the book, I believe neither Jace nor Lucerys' bodies were ever found.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the show, they got his body back. I thought that was a nice touch, personally. I think that because it gave us the scene, like as far as TV is concerned, like it gave us that scene with the grief. So
Yes.
I personally am not complaining too much about it. I think that is fine. Another point, I guess, that's worth that's worth bringing into the Adaptometer is the aftermath of the battle itself and Corlys' perspective. I think that was well adapted, and it sets up things for the future. So, I'd say we can give that 3 points. And
I like
the point of his own
landing. The way Rhaenyra landed in King's Landing. Different, but I liked it.
Yeah.
You
so
liked
I think
it,
that was
but
fine.
was it well adapted?
No, it was different. It was different. But
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
different, but I'm like, but I'll give it to you, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So where does that leave us as far as our total?
It
I
sounds
don't
like
know,
it
man.
leaves
I'm
us.
at like 40%, but that's vibes.
I think that
Honestly, I'm less. I'm like 30.
statistically, it gives us, just because if a couple of things were neutral, I think we're maybe about 50%, which probably reflects, the general feeling here, because it was fun to watch, but it was a departure. So
It's definitely a departure.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll have to see how they bring things home. We'll have to watch the guys, like Kristen and his guys. It's funny to me how like it's just hilarious, because when you really think about the logistics of this world, it's like you hear a dragon, the first thing you do is get up, look. Okay, is that a dragon we know? Great. Let's continue what we're doing. Is that a dragon we don't know?
We
Run.
don't know. Run and shout dragon
As if there's anywhere to run.
from those flames. Nowhere.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's just about it. Thank you guys for coming on. I think the show is doing a good job of making us feel like it's going somewhere this season, right?
Yeah.
I think in general, like the characters need to feel like they exist even when they're not on screen. Game of Thrones has always been very good at this. And I think House of the Dragon this season anyway is good at that as well. I have thoughts on, specific characters and how they adhere to that we'll touch on in the coming weeks. But I think overall, I'm excited for episode 3. And I'm wondering what Rhaenyra is going to do with the Iron Throne now that she is finally sitting on it. I guess we're going to have to wait and see. So,
Sure thing.
Until next time, lock the doors of your house.